History, my friends, is not just about dates and wars. It's also a treasure trove of some truly bizarre events that will make your jaw drop. Imagine surviving the sinking of not one, not two, but three majestic liners. Picture an astronomer's pet moose getting drunk and meeting a tragic end at a dinner party. Or the time when people danced their lives away literally in the streets of Strasbourg. And if that wasn't strange enough, how about the trial of a corpse, a pope's corpse no less, that was found guilty and then mutilated? Yes, you heard that right. These are not plots of some fantastical tales, but real stories etched in the annals of history. They showcase survival against all odds, the unpredictable quirks of the natural world, and the sheer absurdity that often accompanies historical events. So buckle up, for we're about to dive into the weird side of history. Picture this, surviving not one, not two, but three sinking ships. Sounds impossible, right? Well, not for Violet Jessup. Now, if you're thinking that Violet Jessup was some kind of superhero, well, you wouldn't be far off. Born in Argentina to Irish immigrants at the tail end of the 19th century, Jessup was no stranger to adversity. She battled tuberculosis as a child, a disease that was expected to claim her life. But Violet had other plans. By the time she was 23, she was working as a stewardess and nurse aboard some of the most prestigious ocean liners of the time. First, there was the RMS Olympic, the largest luxury liner of its day. In September of 1911, the Olympic collided with a British warship, the HMS Hawke. But did our Violet go down with the ship? Not on your life. She survived. Then in April of 1912, she was aboard the infamous Titanic. We all know that story. The unsinkable ship hits an iceberg and sinks into the icy Atlantic. Over 1,000 people perished, but once again, Violet Jessup was not among them. She was one of the lucky few who escaped on a lifeboat. But wait, there's more. In 1916, during the First World War, Jessup was serving on the HMHS Britannic, a ship that was a hospital ship at the time. An unexplained explosion caused the Britannic to sink in the Aegean Sea. And guess who survived yet again? That's right, Violet Jessup. In all her years at sea, she survived 3 shipwrecks, each one more unbelievable than the last. Her story is one of resilience and survival against all odds. Whether it was luck, fate, or sheer force of will, Violet Jessup earned her nickname, Miss Unsinkable. Evidently, Violet Jessup was not a lady to be messed with by the sea. Moving on from survival tales, let's delve into the world of royal parties and drunken moose. That's right, folks. We're stepping back into the 16th century, into the grandeur of Danish royalty, where an astronomer named Tycho Brahe roamed the halls with his rather unusual pet. Now, Tycho Brahe was no ordinary man, and his pet was certainly no ordinary creature. Rather than a dog or a cat, Brahe had a pet moose. Yes, you heard that right, a full-grown, majestic moose. But this wasn't your average moose content. With grazing and wandering the wilderness, this moose had a taste for the finer things in life, or should we say, the winer things. One fateful night, Brahe decided to bring his beloved pet moose to a dinner party. As the wine flowed freely, so did the moose's enthusiasm for the fermented grape. The moose began to imbibe, and imbibe it did, until it was thoroughly inebriated. Now we all know that a drunken human can be a handful, but a drunken moose? That's a whole other level of chaos. The moose stumbled and staggered, causing havoc in its wake. But the night took a tragic turn when the moose, disoriented and not in control of its faculties, ended up tumbling down a staircase, meeting an untimely end. So there you have it, a tale of revelry and tragedy, a tale that serves as a cautionary tale to all. It's a story that's as bizarre as it is true, a story that reminds us of the unpredictability of history and the peculiarities of the past. So remember, folks, never invite a moose to a party. Ever felt like dancing until you drop? Well, in 1518, that's precisely what happened. Picture this, Strasbourg in the heart of the Holy Roman Empire, a bustling city full of life and energy. Then out of nowhere, a woman named Frau Trophia starts to dance, and she doesn't stop. Not after an hour, not after a day, not even after a week. She danced until she collapsed from exhaustion, only to get up and start again. But the story doesn't end there. No, it gets stranger. Within a week, 34 others had joined her, and by the end of the month, the number had swelled to around 400, and they all danced day and night for days on end. It was a dance marathon like no other. but one where the prize was survival, and not everyone was lucky enough to claim it. Many danced until they literally dropped dead from exhaustion or stroke. Historians and scientists have been scratching their heads over this one for centuries. What could possibly have caused such a bizarre event? Some theories suggest that it was a case of mass hysteria, a collective stress response to the harsh living conditions of the time. Others propose that the townsfolk might have ingested ergot, a mold that grows on rye and can cause hallucinations and convulsions. But whatever the cause, the dancing plague of 1518 remains one of the most bizarre and unexplained events in history. It serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of the human mind and the power of collective behavior. So the next time you're on the dance floor, remember the dancing plague of 1518. And maybe, just maybe, take a break before you drop. Our final bizarre historical event takes us to the Vatican in 896, where a dead pope was put on trial. Yes, you heard that right, a dead pope. This is the extraordinary tale of Pope Formosus, whose life was controversial, but whose death was even more so. Pope Formosus was a respected figure during his lifetime, yet he had his fair share of enemies. His papacy was marked by political maneuvers and alliances that rubbed some the wrong way. But it was after his death that things took a bizarre turn. His successor, Pope Stephen II, held a grudge against Formosus. So much so that he decided to dig up Formosus's body, dress it in papal vestments, and put it on trial. This event, known as the Cadaver Synod, saw Formosus's corpse propped up on a throne, with a deacon appointed to answer for him. The charges were numerous, including perjury and serving as a bishop while actually a layman. The macabre spectacle didn't end with the trial. After being found guilty, Formosus's body was stripped of its sacred vestments, 3 fingers of his right hand were cut off, and his corpse was thrown into the Tiber River. The motivations behind this posthumous trial are still debated by historians. Some argue it was a power play by Pope Stephen VI, an attempt to delegitimize his rivals and consolidate his own position. Others believe it was a manifestation of the deep-seated political tensions of the time. The aftermath of the trial was equally dramatic. Public opinion was outraged by the disrespect shown to a former pontiff. This led to a rebellion, which resulted in Stephen VI's imprisonment and eventual murder. As for Formosus, his body was recovered from the Tiber and reburied with full honors by a subsequent pope. So there you have it, a pope tried posthumously. History, my friends, is stranger than fiction. Well, we've certainly taken a wild ride through history today. We've journeyed through time, meeting an amazing woman surviving 3 great ships. We've partied with Tycho Brahe's Drunken Moose and danced ourselves to exhaustion with the afflicted citizens of Strasbourg in the dancing plague of 1518. We even bore witness to the shocking spectacle of Pope Formosus's posthumous trial in the year 896. Each of these stories serves as a reminder of the unpredictable, often absurd twists and turns that history can take. These are the stories that make history more than just dates and facts. They're the wild, the weird, and the utterly bizarre moments that remind us of the fascinating complexity of our past. Remember, history isn't just about the battles and the treaties, it's also about the wild, the weird, and the utterly bizarre. Thanks for joining us on this crazy historical journey. Until next time, and don't forget to subscribe, my friend.